Quick introduction. I am Caitlynn French. I'm a voice actress that has primarily worked with Sentai Filmworks. I've done a few other things, primarily little Otome video games and visual novels online. But primarily I worked with Sentai Filmworks and anime. I've been voice acting for 4 years now. I have a theater degree, got it in Kansas, moved down to Austin because there's not much in Kansas. So that's really where I want to start with this. And this panel, this is a very interactive panel for me. What I enjoy doing is most of the voice acting conversations, like how to be a voice actor, the business, we've made panels for. So if you want boost stories, I can do that. But this is me getting to know you guys and getting to have an interactive exchange to know what things you guys like and what we share in common, because I don't think I'm all that interesting unless I can relate to you guys in some way, shape, or form. I don't like sitting behind my podium and seeming like I'm sitting on a pedestal, because I don't. I'm sitting on the floor normally, cross-legged, talking to all of you. But I am someone who started out as a pretty much anti-social person who likes to sit and play MMOs online. We own over 120 RPG books for tabletop role-playing games. We have dice collections that fill up 2 sewing boxes that are dual-sided. We have more board games than I know what to do with, and we're running out of closet space. I have owned a system since the Super Nintendo. I've had a Sega Dreamcast. I've had a PS2, PS3, PS4. I've moved over to PC now because PS4 kind of let me down. Especially because Skyrim mods made me really happy. I've been a big anime fan for most of my life. My first anime was Sailor Moon and Ronin Warriors. They both came on USA at the same time, and that's what I would watch in the morning before school. And then from there, Toonami happened, like it happened for so many of us, that really helped push us into that. Satellite TV came out, so I found Princess Mononoke that way when Mom was at home one day, so Mom didn't see me watching really gruesome stuff. And kind of from there, my interest have spiraled. Obviously, I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. Cthulhu was actually not my favorite god. My favorite god is the unnameable one, Hastur. And I did name him. Oh well. I have the yellow sign painted on my face. So I want to open it up there. I have several roles. I kind of mentioned them yesterday. I'm Shiro in No Game No Life. Hana is Suzu in Girls in Panzer. Meitachi Bana in Say I Love You. I have been Tina Sprout in Black Bullet. If it's 11 years old, I've probably played it. Miyu Elefelt in Prisma Ilia Minor, Fate Collide, and several other series. AKB 0048. My first show was The Book of Bantora 4 years ago, which I owe to Chris Ayers casting me, and he hasn't kicked me out since. And from there, I actually want to open the panel for questions, or you're just going to get a bunch of awkward me talking, which I guess you guys can enjoy, but it's more fun to have you guys interact with me. So, any questions pertaining to interest, life, the universe, everything, the number 42, booth stories, situations I may have been in, convention horror stories, yes!
Alright, you said you played 4 games and everything, and you had a bunch of dice and everything else, but do you play Magic?
I have not played Magic the Gathering. The only card game I really ever got into was Pokemon back in the day. I was a Pokemon card player. I wasn't very great at it. I didn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh! After that, but primarily card games have never really been my thing. I enjoy certain card games. Munchkin is the one game that will make me rage and flip things, because once the backstab happens, I start getting angry and too competitive. I was a competitive dancer for 11 years, so I try not to get in competitive situations because I start flipping tables. I will get unnecessarily competitive about things, so I always try to keep my chill down. I also like the game Lunch Money. If anybody has ever played Lunch Money, it's a really fun game. You had a question. Hi.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. Recently I've been on, well, my last MMO before Blade and Soul came out, it was Final Fantasy 14.
Never
and
played 11?
Huh?
Never played 11?
I I have not played 11. At the time, I was a poor college student, so I couldn't do the monthly fees. I have played Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VII, I played Final Fantasy VIII. The first Final Fantasy I actually played was for the Super Nintendo. It was called it was just called Final Fantasy, the Four Crystals.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't actually part of the Final Fantasy series, but it says Final Fantasy.
I thought it was going to be Mystic Quest, and I was about to cry for you.
I did have Mystic Quest, though.
Wow.
I did enjoy that game when I was younger, though, and I didn't understand why I couldn't get past certain points. And I tried over and over again, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, my primarily Final Fantasy has been Final Fantasy VII and all of its offshoots. Crisis Core, I've really been wanting to play because I love the Turks. My favorite character is Elena the Turk. I feel like she's the most underdeveloped and best one there is. I love Dirge of Cerberus the game, which a lot of people did not. I found it personally fun. Before Crisis made me cry like a little girl. And I'm not sure how I feel about the remake, especially if it involves Genesis, because no thank you. I'm not a huge Genesis Rhapsodus fan. He's kind of one of those characters they inserted, and I'm like, I really like Angio, but Genesis, we had to involve Gact somehow. Yes?
As far as story goes, though, what would you say 7 then, I guess, is your favorite as far as storylines go, or is there any other Final Fantasy ones that you kind of lean toward for that, or?
Story-wise, I feel like Final Fantasy VII, because it was the first one that really caught my attention, because it deviates away from the typical fantasy setting when I had played. 7 came out when I was in 6th grade, so it was about that time that you start really appreciating games for their stories. So I think my bias is rooted in the fact that it was one of the first ones I played that just had this really deep storyline and I connected with the characters. So I'm pretty sure because it was my first one in that vein that it's always going to be my favorite, even now. I played 8 a little bit and I just did not get attached to Squall. I couldn't, I don't know why. Squall, the characters didn't match up to me like I had liked in 7. So yeah, thus far, 7's my favorite, even in storyline wise.
Same here.
And everybody has their preference, and I'm not going to say one is better than the other because we all have our reasons and we all have our opinions and preferences, and that's awesome that we all have differing opinions in that. Yeah, so there's that. That's on my Final Fantasy kick. On MMOs, I have, my first MMO was EverQuest Online. I was a high elf cleric. I'm typically a healer role whenever we play an MMO. I play a white mage. I played a white mage in Final Fantasy XIV. I finally left that because RNG Jesus hates me. I don't know if anybody else has played Final Fantasy XIV, but trying to get white mage armor to drop is tear-inducing and rage-inducing. I am primarily Blade and Soul because I waited for that game for years. If you don't know what Blade and Soul is, it is an MMO that came out back in 2012. It was in Korea. It was in the same vein as Terra Online, where it had a very active and engaging combat system. But it's all Hong Tae Kim designs, and they're beautiful. The only problem is it took it 4 years to get here. 4 years. But it's still worth it to me. But yeah, so Terra Online, Ion, I've played a lot of MMOs. I have no excuse for myself in that one. That's just what I do.
Elder Scrolls Online?
I played Elder Scrolls Online. As it being based off a game that I really love, it was really hard for me. I get into MMOs because I enjoy role-playing. I am a role player. So whenever I join an MMO I look for the role-play community, and it was really hard for me to find on that one.
They're better now.
I hear it's better now, but questing-wise, it kind of felt, to me, a little more shallow, but I'm so used to the Elder Scroll games, I can't divorce them when I go into that game. I'm like, okay, I'm going into a game that is based off all the lore of one of my favorite game series, and then I go in there and I'm like, it feels like it's trying to be that, but at the same time isn't quite that, and
There's a couple quest stops.
I know it gets better, but I just could never get pulled into it, and it's very much that trying to find people on the mega server was also a pain in the butt.
I had my husband, so it was the two of us. We were in beta, so we were just cruising through beta and playing.
I had people, but we would never be put on the same server, so it would always be like 30 minutes of us having to server hop back, like get to one another, which has been my major problem. But I have friends who play it and they love it. It was a fun system. I just don't think I ever found my niche in that. I really love Guild Wars 2 for what it was, but I never found my niche in that one either. Yeah.
Speaking of MMOs and role-playing, did you get a chance to play City of Heroes while it existed?
So, funny story. I never played City of Heroes seriously as an MMO or role player. We played a lot of Mutants and Mastermind games, so we have a friend named Brian who really enjoys making heroes or drawing them or trying to get us to make our heroes in some way, shape, or form. So he pushed the creator at us constantly until we would make our heroes for our game in this creator. And we're just like, Brian, this isn't working. We're not Golden Age heroes. But it was fun. It was fun for the little bit I played it. It was definitely different, and that's what I appreciated about it. I actually play the Marvel Heroes now, which is really fun, because it has kind of a gauntlet style play when you're running through, just getting to be, it's definitely gotten better. If any of you played the Marvel Heroes beta, it wasn't that great. Marvel's Heroes 2015 was fabulous. I love running around as my heroes, so my primary character is female Punisher, Rachel, and she's a really fun character to play. Opening up the floor again. Yeah.
Why Cthulhu?
Why Cthulhu? Well, first off, he's not actually my favorite Lovecraft god, as I said, but he's the one who gets the most popular over here in Western culture. If you actually take it over to Japan, you'll notice that Nyarlathotep is actually the most popular. In any anime media, it is Nyarlathotep who is portrayed most often. Nyaruko, Crawling Chaos of Love, is based off Nyarlathotep and Hastur and Cthulhu. There's no Cthulhu. You get Nodens even before you get Cthulhu. But primarily because Cthulhu is the one you can find the stuff of. So when I'm trying to run around as something Lovecraft, you get Cthulhu. I actually have 2 different Hastur costumes that I have been and cosplayed as, but no one knows what I am, which is kind of funny in my opinion. But I love Lovecraft mythos. I think the insanity of it is fun. I think it's weird, it's creepy. It has a factor that I just enjoy about it. I love the concept of there being horrors and things out there that our minds cannot comprehend, and when we try to comprehend them, it slowly drives us towards insanity. And people start to fear it. I think that concept is awesome. Back on the RPG kick, if you have never, ever seen Cthulhu or Lovecraft, and you're a big fan of anime, especially Evangelion, there's a book called Cthulhu Tech, and you should look it up. It is amazing. It is Evangelion meets Lovecraft, and it is the best thing ever. The system is crap, I will tell you this right now, but if you have a good enough GM, you can adapt it to any other system to play. I mean, I've seen people do the mech mods for Shadowrun. I've seen them take it to several other systems. But the art and the story are amazing if they would finish it. I might be a little bitter at the moment about that. But yeah, it is amazing in general. Yeah.
What is the saddest anime you ever seen?
The saddest anime I've ever seen? Ah, man. The saddest anime I have actually ever seen. I don't watch a lot of sad anime. I can tell you there are 3 shows I have cried like a little girl in the booth doing. The first one was Little Busters.
Love that anime.
Episode 14. I play Mio in the first season, and her other half, Midori. And there is a conversation between them that I am having with myself that by the end it happens, I came out of the booth and Chris Ayers had to hug me because I was just sobbing. Because what happens is when you play 2 characters in a show, especially one that's like twins or someone that's half and half, you go through as one character. And we went through as Mio first. No, we went through as Midori first. So I was playing the happy, bubbly, almost kind of malicious side first as she evolves. And then you're playing Mio, who has been this static, emotionless character, and you start going through it until she gets her emotional awakening, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful moment, and that is the first show I cried in. Second show I cried during recording was, has anybody seen Sunday Without God? If you have seen it, episode 4, there is a heartbreaking scene regarding Ai's father after finally finding him. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but the ending of that episode left me absolutely devastated, and I just started sobbing in the booth. And it was only like my second time working with this director, so it was really kind of awkward for Kyle that I just started sobbing. And in the Japanese track of it, actually, they have, during the credits, they have Ai in the Japanese version, like wailing, like anime, screaming, wailing. The English version, they made it silent, and you can hear me breathe a few times. That's probably for a really good reason, because I'm just sobbing in the background for real. And I think it's actually a lot more powerful that they chose to not include anything else. That you just see her crying with the music playing and not hearing her wail over it. Third one. It was actually kind of a happy cry. If you've ever seen Hana Yamata, it's actually a show that just came out recently. It was put out by Madhouse. It is a beautiful little show about middle school girls starting to find their place and what makes them happy. And if you want punch to right in the feels, that is a show to do it with, especially with cute shoujo I love introduced into it as well. And I enjoy me some shoujo I series. So, but definitely Little Busters or Sunday Without God take the cake for me. But I'm biased and I sobbed like a little girl in the booth. Yes?
Personal horror convention stories.
Alright. This one happened in July. It was in, oh gosh, it was Pride Week in Ohio? Toledo, Ohio. It was Pride Week, and the con was in a convention center, so anybody could go through. It was autograph time. And I didn't have a handler for that convention. I was sitting at an autograph table. DC Douglas is on one side with 3 of the staff members. Damon Mills is sitting between us. And then there's me on the edge. And I'm sitting there signing autographs. My line kind of empties out and this guy comes up in front of the table. He looks at me. He looks at my name. My daughter's name's Caitlynn. Okay. I look up. Man, you got some pretty eyes. And I'm like, shit. I know where this is going. My husband was running to grab lunch because the convention booked lunch during my autograph session. Aww. So he was being a sweetheart running to grab me food. Of course, this happens when he's gone. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm trying not to quite look at this guy, or I'm being polite at this point. I'm looking around, kind of busying myself at some of the fans, and he looks at me and goes, I don't mean to sound like a pervert, which starts awesome. You know how these sentences start. But man, if you were my wife, you would never sleep at night. And I was just like, oh no. And he stood there longer after saying that. And I'm gonna censor the name because I don't want anybody to get this, but so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can't be an outright B to him because there are fans still around. But someone's got to get this guy. So I'm looking over at the staff members like, and they're all talking to Wesker. And I'm like, crap. I'd be talking to Wesker too. If you've never met DC Douglas, he's amazing and he's hilarious. So I understand. But there's a moment where I needed an adult. And that is the exact text I sent to my husband screaming, I needed adults. So he stands there and he's like, and he puts his card down on the table after saying this. And he goes, this is my name. I'm like, okay. And he grabs his sleeve and he rolls it up. It's like this guy from TV, and I didn't know his name. Let's go with Jose. But it's tattooed on his arm. And he stands up and he's looking and he's pointing at it like it's the sexiest thing in the world. It's like, Jose. Crap, wait, how do I get this out of here? So I have Jose standing in front of me, pretty much telling me what he would do to me if I was married to him, which I'm not, after saying I had the name of his daughter, which makes this conversation even worse and weirder. And then finally he puts down his card and says, if you ever need your fence painted, give me a call. Is this like the start of a really bad porno? Because you're not even doing that right. It's got pizza, it's got plumbing, can I come paint your fence?
Wow.
By the end of it, I'm just like, oh God, can I die now? And finally he walked away. But he's gone by the time Justin gets there. And poor David's next to me watching this, and he goes, what just happened? And I pretty much died on the inside. He'd come out, it wasn't anybody from the con, this was not a con goer, it was someone who had just walked through the convention table and saw me sitting there.
Wow.
He just was passing through. And yeah, that's I don't think I could outbeat any story but with that, because it was one of these single creepiest moments where it goes from, oh hey, my daughter's name's Caitlyn. She's young and pretty like you two. If you were my wife, I would not let you sleep at night. I'm like, God, I want to go die now. Which, yeah, so that's my con creeper horror story. Yes.
What is the most awesome request you've ever gotten from a fan to do, and what is the most creepiest?
Okay, creepiest is normally when anybody has me say like Big Brother. Because I play Shiro, Kuriha Sakamachi from Mayochiki, Miyu, and Tina Sprout. I play a lot of little girls with brother complexes. That's just what happens. You all develop a niche. I developed a niche for 12-year-old girls who are into their brother, apparently. I mean, at least I'll always have work, right? Japan hasn't learned its lesson yet. So, there are several times that people want me to call them Big Brother. And it's always like, to be fair, it's normally very polite. They're like, oh, can you say thank you, Big Brother? And I'm like, okay, fine, yes. I'll do it. I'll do it in Tina's voice, or I'll do it in Shiro's voice. Those are normally kind of the creepy ones, because part of me is like, I'm playing an 11-year-old. Come on, guys. Then I think the most awesome thing is when people, like, as much as I love my 12-year-old girls in my lolly area, when people recognize, if anybody, I actually haven't mentioned this, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I have been a wrestling fan since I was a little girl. And the show Mayochiki, I was cast in the role as Kuriha Sakamachi, the little sister to the main character. It's kind of a reverse Maria Holic. Whenever the guy gets touched by a female, he instinctively has nosebleeds because his mom and his sister are both pro wrestlers. And they beat him up so much when he bleeds, they stop. So his defense mechanism is a girl touches him, he bleeds. So he'll just get nosebleeds too. It's like one of those built-in defense mechanisms that he gets. So Kuriha, I got to play the little sister, and she gets to scream wrestling moves, and it is probably one of the most fun moments I had. I actually got cast in that the week after WrestleMania 30, which if anybody doesn't know about that WrestleMania, well, The Undertaker's streak was put to an end by Brock Lesnar. And I was really, really sore about it at that point in time because I'm not a Brock Lesnar fan. I can like Brock Lesnar as a joke, but I don't like Brock Lesnar as a person or a wrestler because he's actually not that great.
Thank fucking Christ.
Yeah, she feels me. I am a Dean Ambrose girl all the way, by the way. I got my hoodie over here. So our sound engineer, Ricardo, decided to troll me the entire time. After I don't know what possessed me. I normally don't drink soda before I go into the booth, but I downed a Buc-ee's like 44-ounce Dr. Pepper slushie before going in there, and then a Pepsi, I think, afterwards. So I was really high on caffeine, and Ricardo started peeving me off and getting me started about WrestleMania. So I go in there talking about 120 miles a minute when I play Kureha, and it got great results. So anytime anyone asks me to do something as Kureha, like to scream, is probably the most awesome thing because she's a character that is very close to me in a way that a lot of people know, and I was cast in that role. I was told specifically because the fact that if they cast anybody else, it would have been a waste. So I'm very proud of that fact that my fandom actually earned me that spot as an actress. So anytime anybody recognizes that or asks me to do stuff as her, it means a lot to me in a really weird way.
Can you do a line?
Yeah, not with a mic in my hand. Big brother! Yeah, she's really, really loud. And if you don't know, normally I play roles like this. I don't get to talk a lot. It's always really low, really sad. And normally I get to say big brother like, big brother. Things like that. So when I get to be really loud and obnoxious, it's really, really fun. Thanks for that one. That was a really fun one to answer.
I tried.
Anybody else got questions? Actually, where are we on time? Time check.
11:28.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Dang, we're gonna have some fun with this. Let me think. Oh, who here's a fan of Girls in Panzer? Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, it's if you haven't seen the show, it's about a girls' school that they get into the art of tankery. Tankery means these little girls go pilot tanks and have competitions. It is awesome. The first time I was ever in the booth for that show, I had no idea what I was going into. My usual process for doing any sort of role, I'm cast at Sentai, so I'm not part of the broadcast dubs currently. So I have time to sit, marathon the show, know who the character is, and then go into the booth with that knowledge. Well, I was cast super last minute, so I didn't. I didn't know I was a lead. I had never worked with this director before. I had just moved to Texas, and screw you, Texas, I got more sinus infections my first year than I ever want to experience again. But if you actually listen to my first year, if I sound sick, it's actually probably because I was. The entire first year I was here in Texas, I was sick with sinus infections. Chiki Kurahara has that, Hana Isuzu has it, and I am sorry. But I was very netted up. But I was working with this director, Janet, for the first time, and I was super nervous. It takes me a while to not be nervous with people, especially when with a director. I'm super cool, I love the directors, especially if you get to know them, but the first time I'm probably shaking in my freaking little boots because I don't know how people are gonna react. And in that show, I had no idea what I was going into, so I always feel like Hana Isuzu was one of my worst roles because I knew nothing about her going into it. I've actually had a show recently where I was put in the same situation, but it was a great learning experience as Hana of how to adapt, where I learned how to get into that situation and flourish much more. And I have to say, Girls in Panzer really helped me with that. Especially because when you go and listen to the OVAs of Girls in Panzer, you can tell I have Hana down to an absolute science in my brain. When I find a character, I love to dissect them and figure out who they are by looking at their image, their mannerisms, following their storylines. I love every character that I play. I find some piece of myself in them. So if anybody ever asks, do I not like a character I play? No, I love every character I play because I'm cast in that role because the director thinks of me in some way, and I have to find that. It's how I like to think of it, at least. Yeah.
I don't know, out of all the roles you've done, you say there's just one that you maybe had the most fun doing, liked the most out of all of them, or?
I can't say I have a favorite because it is like picking a favorite child. I can probably tell you a reason I love every one of them, though. I mean, Book of Bantora was my first show. I played Kumola. When you get cast in an anime for the first time, the likelihood is you're going to be a small bit per piece, and you're probably going to die. When you first get in anime, you die a lot. You die and you scream. That's kind of what happens. And I absolutely loved Kumola because she was this very sweet character. She was very calm, and she was watching so many terrible things happen and trying to be the strength for these boys around her as she watches them one by one start dying until it's her and one other guy left. And this other guy is played by Josh Greeley, and he's amazing. And finally, these two become friends, and the main person on the island drives her absolutely crazy with torture. Like, they take her, they torture her, drive her absolutely nuts, where his character by the end has no choice but to kill her because it's a mercy. And it was so sad and heartbreaking, but even my first character like that, there's a little piece because she is so sweet up until that end and what happens to her, and it's so sad. Shiro in No Game No Life is a huge gamer like I am. I saw that, I cried because I got cast in that role. I was so happy I got her. I cried in a closet at work once I got that call. I oftentimes get really emotional when I get cast because I love performing. That's what I do. I have a theater degree. This is what I love doing. But Tina Sprout's weird. Chris Ayers calls me his Luna Lovegood because I always play very weird, very airy characters, and I take that as a huge compliment because one, I'm a Ravenclaw. Two, Luna's a gal after my own heart because she's not afraid to be who she is, as weird as she is. And I think that as a person has helped me grow because I've come to embrace I'm really weird. I got a tentacle on here. Not everybody does that. But like, again, Kureha, she was a character that got to embrace part of my passion for pro wrestling, and I think the few characters that are furthest from me, the first one that I played that was pretty far from me was Margie Everbach. She was 3 lines in Machikoi O Samurai Girls. She's a militant redhead. I had red hair once. That's about as common as we get, but she was awesome because she was a strong girl, and I don't get to play strong girls often. And has anybody seen Maria Holic? I play Matsurika. I play that sassy little white-haired maid who sits and plays Diaz or Vita, whichever mood fits her. But she's a nasty little girl, and she's amazing. And even in that, she's probably the most removed from me and one of the most fun because I got to say some terrible things. I was a bee for once, and I never get to be that in anime. If you see most roles I'm cast in, I am a very sweet girl. I play a lot of sweet characters. They're sometimes really sassy, but in the long run, they're pretty nice. Matsurika is not. There's nothing nice about Matsurika, and it's fabulous. Her twin brother, Rindo, who was one of my favorite characters in that series, is absolutely, you see the evil twin and the good twin, despite Rindo's absolutely nuts too. But yeah, I really don't think there is a character or an absolute favorite, I can say, because they were all fun in their own ways, and identifying them is always one of those things that the longest I've ever spent with a character was actually Naru Sekiya for Hana Yamata, which was very recently, actually, back in September. And it released last month. A show that is coming out here in April that we have not announced the cast list for. I was cast in last minute also. Was probably the first time that I ever felt like a voice actor could have a jam session with a sound engineer, because that's pretty much what happened for that show. That it was a show they're like, we're dubbing it, but we're gonna have a lot of fun with it and see where this goes. So I got cast in this role last minute and we went with it and it was fun. I can't wait to be able to actually announce this series because it's really fun, it's really cute, and I hope everybody loves it. Opening up the floor again. Alright. My husbandos. Oh, no, we have a collection. We have someone back there. I'll talk about my husbando collection soon.
You mentioned preferring to marathon the show before you work on it.
Yes.
Is Sentai able to send you a screener, or do you have to use alternate sources?
I use Crunchyroll normally. A lot of the anime they have is either on the Anime Network or Crunchyroll, because Sentai does not, from what I understand and what I have seen, is that normally the anime does not get dubbed until about a year after it has come out at least, because they are not doing the broadcast dubs. I don't know exactly how it works, but so I have legal ways to watch the anime before it comes out with Crunchyroll and the Anime Network. And it's a really easy way to watch it too, and they already have the subtitles, and they're pretty accurate subtitles also, so I'm not like surprised by the content that happens either in the show. Yeah, so that's kind of how I did marathon it, and I prefer marathoning shows because I am an impatient person when it comes to a show. We tried to watch, so if anybody watched last year's summer season, we tried to do episode by episode of Monster Musume, and that was really hard because that was a really fun show and I just wanted the next episode. But we marathoned Gate and we did not regret doing that because it was amazing. We were like, I don't know what this Gate anime is, let's watch it. And it's almost 2 in the morning. Maybe we should thought, no, we're gonna finish it. Right, we tried to watch the first episode, we're like, no, we have to watch this all together because I wanna know where this is going. I just prefer to marathon it. We did that with Jessica Jones also, which is fabulous. Yeah, I'm actually a big Marvel DC fan. I have many, many tangents. Nigrin up front mentioned my husbando collection, which is growing at the moment. I have Red Hood in the mail, and I'm really excited. I collect figurines, by the way, of not just characters I play, which I do. I have a big collection of the characters I play in figurines. I also have figurines of husbandos and waifus of my Chariot from Black Rock Shooter is one of them. Red Hood, obviously. I have a Harley Quinn collection that is probably borderline obsessive. Actually, probably not. I actually have the giant hammer and everything for building a cosplay of her I'm doing eventually. So that's definitely one of my things. It's fair. I let my husband have his waifu collection, so I get mine too. It's only fair. If he gets one, I get one. And that's how it works. We just buy each other statues for anniversaries. We're like, oh man, that's really good taste. Or sometimes I'm like, yeah, your waifu's trash. We've had these exchanges. Sharing is caring in a good marriage. Yeah.
Would you be interested in working with Funimation, or is it a rivalry where you're under contract where you have to stick with Sentai somewhere?
I am a contract worker, so I am not owned by any company whatsoever. As a voice actor, you are hired out. If you live in the area normally, I don't know how Funimation prefers to cast, but they probably prefer to cast more from Dallas area than Austin area. I will take work wherever someone will hire me. I am an actor, that is what I do. If you want to hire me, please hire me. I will happily go wherever there is a paycheck and a fun character to play, really. That's how I am as an actor. Sentai just happens to cast me both, so that's how it works. Only recently have I started doing the online video game stuff, and that's been really exciting. It's a new medium. It's an experience to grow. So I don't ever say no to paid projects. That's kind of how that works. Heck, I'd even do hentai. I'm not lying.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
I'm just saying the fact is, if I could do a terrible dub and have it shown at a hentai, one of those horrible hentai dubs, I'd actually probably be a little proud of myself. But yeah. Yes?
Is there any upcoming animes that you would like to dub for?
There's so many good. So reality is, I want to be in every show ever because there's so many good shows out there. I mean, just thinking on the area I get cast as Sentai most. I mean, Don Machi's coming out as a big D&D player, as someone who loves the fantasy genre. That's an awesome show I'd love to be in. Monster Musume is one of those shows I really want to be in. Monster Girls are awesome.
Which one?
There are 4 that I would actually. I don't think I would ever be unhappy with any role in that show. The 4 I would love to be: Sue, Poppy. I would love to be Monako, and Doppel, because Doppel is actually, it is not shown in the show, but in the manga it is alluded to that she is Nyarlathotep, and that would actually be slightly dream. If I could be a Lovecraft god in an anime, I would die happy. Like, that is blending everything I love in like some little sweet mixture. I mean, Doppel doesn't say much, but I would do. I will drive 2.5 hours to play 5 lines. So, yes, Monster Musume is one of the ones I really would love to. But whoever gets cast will be amazing. The director obviously knows. Gate is one I would love to be in because Gate is also amazing. I don't think there's a show I don't want to be in. I mean, but there's always the fact of there's tons of shows that I fall in love with that I get cast in that I don't know, which is equally awesome. Is that the director will cast me and they're like, yeah, I thought about this, and I'm like, okay, why'd you think? And I'll watch the show and I'm like, this show's awesome. Why did I not know about this show? Getting cast is how I discover some of those really cool shows, which is actually kind of how I found Fate Collide, which, as much as people may make fun of Fate Collide, I still adore the show. For as awful as it gets sometimes, it's fun to have magical girl parodies. That's something I love about it, and I got really, really, really excited that Kira Vincent Davis is playing Kuro. I nerd out and I really like knowing who I'm cast with because I love noting what sort of relationship I have with people in shows. Like, I play Lucy Christian's sidekick a lot. Like, if there's Lucy Christian, there I am in anything that's Sentai. It just kind of happens. It's really fun.
You give out wishes?
Then someone's giving out wishes? What? Well, Genie over there, guys. I'm not sure what his touching policy is. No, and then like Kira Vincent Davis, she also played Izuna in No Game No Life. And it's really funny because Shiro's constantly like glomping Izuna, and now in Fate Collide, that's actually the complete reverse of what's going on. If any of you know about the 90-second awkward scene I am talking about, yeah, that's something. But it was still really exciting to do and really fun to have, especially when those actors also play back in that. It's always really fun. Like Hana Yamata, I'm voiced with Monica Rial, and I'm like, oh, I get to have another little love story with Monica Rial. That's awesome. Normally I get to voice with Monica a lot. Carly is also someone. Carly and I always have these weird love-hate relationships in animes. I've noticed Ambition of Oda Nobuna. Toshihei is constantly just poking at her character, and it seems to happen in reverse in Hana Yamata also. But yeah, so I say yeah a lot also when I don't know how to close a sentence. Just noting that. All right, opening the floor again. You guys have been asking some really cool and fun questions. I appreciate it. Normally I get asked like, were you in this show? I'm like, no, I was not. Yeah, what's up?
Any anime in the past that you didn't get to be in that you wish you could? Going far back.
I mean, who doesn't want to be in Sailor Moon, honestly? That I'd be lying if I say, there's my childhood, I want to be in it. Dragon Ball Z as well, but there's not a lot of girl characters in Dragon Ball Z, so that sucks. Oh man, not a whole lot. Actually, there's a video game series I'd really want to be part of. If anyone, like, I'm a really big nerd and I really love the Dynasty Warriors series.
Thank you.
And like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, I'm a huge love. So actually, I played Samurai Warriors first, and I fell in love with the first one because Steve Blum plays Keiji Maeda. I was actually going through a bout of depression in the time I was playing that. I didn't have a lot of friends. So I attribute what I want to do as a voice actor a lot to that game, because when I was feeling down and out, I had a game that I could lose myself into, and it had characters that I loved and that I could relate to. And a lot of that is due to the voice acting that happens. It makes the characters approachable and more real for me, and they tell a story. And that's what I want to do for someone else. I want them to be able to connect with the character so much that it takes them away from whatever's bothering them, even just for 30 minutes. And so from there, I found the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, and then I found Dynasty Warriors, and I've actually been absolutely obsessed. Samurai Warriors 4, not Extreme Legends, Empires comes out, and I'm actually kind of excited about it, because I love Empires mode. So, oh my god, are you in a John Cena shirt?
Yes.
That's a good one. Sorry. I will point out wrestling shirts, it's a thing. So, yeah, the Dynasty Warriors series would be really cool to be part of. That's something. I would be any character. I mean, Xiaoqiao, Daqiao is the two I played because I actually really love inconvenient weapons. I love fan blades. I love parasols. Okuni in Samurai Warriors 1 used a parasol, so anything that used like an umbrella as a weapon, Setsuka is my girl in Soul Calibur. So, anybody who uses like umbrella, like I have an umbrella sword. For the fact Setsuka has that. I love my umbrella sword, but again, like I really love inconvenient weaponry, like fans. I'm not a huge Katana fan despite that though. I am more of a Sonya Blade girl and Cassie Cage girl, though I do like Tanya as well. I'm actually a huge Mortal Kombat fan also. Like I know way too much about that lore. Way too much.
I like the dojo also.
Yes! You had a question!
I was to say, favorite WWF Attitude Era character?
Okay, this is really hard to pick a single one.
So many good ones.
There are. I really love The Brood with Edge and Christian. Woo. Yeah, so when I started watching The Ministry of Darkness was really in its height. So you had Undertaker, The Brood, where Gangrel was still part of it, but we all know what came out of that was Edge and Christian, which were amazing. The APA, the Acolytes, that became the APA, the Acolyte Protection Agency. I love them. Austin, obviously, who doesn't like Stone Cold Steve Austin in that era? Because he's the blue-collar guy fighting the big boss. He was awesome. I always thought Rock was kind of an a-hole, so everybody's like, Rock came back, and I'm like, yeah, Rock came back, and everyone's like, man, I don't like The Rock. You're not supposed to. Rock's character in WWE has never been likable. He's an arsehole. He has never been a face for anything, which if you don't know what a face means good guy in wrestling, heel means bad guy. So, 10 minutes. 10 minutes, all right. So yeah, Edge and Christian, I like the Hardy Boys with Lita. Lita and Trish were kind of the girls that, they were wrestling men. I'm so angry at how wrestling has gone backwards because we have divas matches that are like, oh hey, I'm gonna pull some hair. Okay, great. Why aren't you fighting the guys like I used to watch? That's why I watch a lot more Lucha Underground now. And they have so many talented females that they're trying to right now have break the mold that they created years ago. Did you know in the freaking new 2K games, not 2K16, but 2K15, for create a wrestler mode, you stop being able to make females. Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. I used to play those wrestling games, and you used to be able to fight the guys. Now, because of whatever policies they have in place, when you play the games, if you make a female wrestler, you can't wrestle any of the dudes. You can only wrestle their 4-person roster of females.
Oh, jeez.
That is crap! Everyone says, oh, we're getting so progressive. No, we're going backwards, you arseholes. This isn't fair. Ugh.
I'm not progressive, but I need to find that.
I mean, there are so many talented people that make absolutely waste. Yes, in the back.
Have you watched any of the independent wrestling?
We have been to several of the independent shows. I mean, we've watched ROH, I've watched TNA, Lucha Underground currently. Lucha Underground is absolutely fantastic. If anyone wants a really great alternative to WWE and be entertained, Lucha Underground is where it is at.
What about the ones here in Texas?
I have been to Inspire Pro, and I've also been to Anarchy Wrestling as well. I'm not able to go to them as much, but schedules get like that. But they are very entertaining, and they are very fun. They are good promotions that you guys should go see.
Do you know the over 9,000 chant?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I also watch NXT a lot too, so I'm really excited. We got Kana there now, which makes me very happy. Which, if you don't know, that she's someone from New Japan, so. Sometimes I get a little nervous when my wrestling nerd comes out, though. I will say that.
Don't be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed. It's just, I start rambling, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I lost a lot of people with that, and I want to connect with people, not lose them, not leave them back in the dirt.
Haters gonna hate.
They are gonna hate. I actually used to wear my Haters Wanted shirt. It was an old Miz shirt.
Yeah.
Well, so part of the joke about the reason I would wear that to anime cons is because of the dub versus sub fights that would always happen. So I would always just wear Haters Wanted, and because the old ones are starting to like me shirt, because it's true. Do you know how many people I've had on Reddit rip me a new one because apparently I'm a terrible person who have then later made apology posts? It's true. But everyone blows smoke and people are gonna hate, and you can't change the haters. The only way you change them is by being a good person and showing them like, yeah, you may not like what I do, but you can't hate me as a person because of my voice. But you had a question.
Favorite McFoley persona?
Favorite McFoley? Definitely Mankind for me. He's the one I started with. Cactus Jack is fun, but I was not old enough to appreciate his ECW run or his WCW run.
What about the TNA run?
We don't talk about that.
I mean, he had a really great match with Flair in the end. I mean, holy crap, Flair's still wrestling and bleeding like that at his age, but I didn't watch his TNA run at the time. I was only getting back into wrestling. College kind of killed a lot of things for me. If you've ever been a theater major in college, you don't know what the light of day is. You don't know what the outside world is. The only thing you know in a small town where you're going to college is there's Walmart runs at midnight to entertain yourself, and that's about it. And my roommate from college is in here. We are from Kansas, where we went, Winfield, Kansas. You went to Walmart at midnight to entertain yourself. I'm not joking. So after college is when we moved down here is when I started getting back into wrestling and really enjoying it. My favorites currently are Dolph Ziggler. I love Ziggler despite they have completely destroyed him. Dean Ambrose obviously is one I will sing praises about. New Day! New Day are magical unicorns and they are wonderful.
I got this sword right here. Me and New Day, that's what I'm talking about.
Why? You guys should clap. You should clap to that beat. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. Day rocks. Yeah. That is wonderful. Yes, I love the New Day, and I love that Xavier Woods is finally getting the attention he deserves. Big E is getting to show his personality. Kofi.
No, see, Kofi's good.
Kofi, they're all wonderful, and they all have been been pushed down for so long, and I'm so happy for them to be at the top of the roster now.
Did you watch Raw last night?
Yeah!
When, you know, he licked the palm of his head and spanked another full-grown man?
Yep.
And Dean Ambrose looked back at him like, is he really spanking me in the butt? And Roman Reigns looked at him like, bruh.
Well, it was Dean Ambrose getting spanked, so I'm not going to complain about anything.
Dean Ambrose was like, I think I'm going to have to file a report to HR.
Dean Ambrose probably liked it a little bit.
What has his own Let's Play show?
Yes, he does. Up, down, down. And he has a bunch of the wrestlers on it, yes. Sasha Banks has been on there several times. Bailey has been on there. Yeah, up, down, down. See? He's awesome. I've actually talked to him a few times. Xavier Woods is an awesome dude. But yeah, there's, for all of you who know wrestling, that is a big thing, the New Day. And it is a very jarring thing for several people. Last minute questions, last minute comments. I'm opening the floor to anybody at this point. Yes, in the back.
So, aside from AKB 0048, are you a fan of any other idol anime, and so which one and why?
I'm not a huge idol anime fan. I'm going to be that person to say that. I'm not an idol fan. I really like Sengoku periods or anime that go revisit history. I really enjoy animes that are action-based or are really kind of weird little slice of life. Idol anime, I don't know why, just aren't my cup of tea. Yes?
So you favor more Shinsengumi timelines. Which characters?
Ambition of Oda Nobunaga, anything with the Maida clan. I love Keiji Maida, Toshiya Maida. I actually got to play Toshiya Maida, which I was telling the story that Keiji Maida is one of my favorite characters thanks to Steve Bloom. So when I got to play Toshiya Maida in the Ambition of Oda Nobunaga, which is a gender swap version of that, I was very excited. I fangirled out very, very hard. I didn't cry in a closet like I did for Shiro, but it meant a lot to me to be able to get to do a Sengoku period timeline because that is a period of time I love. That and the Romance of the Kingdoms era, again, as a Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors fan and Sengoku Basara fan, I was really excited to get to do that and play a character that has a name in history. So, yeah, and I think with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I have autographs starting after this, so if you want to talk to me or you have any more to say, feel free to come up to me. The only time I say don't talk to me is if I'm eating, and if you do want to talk to me while I'm eating, please bring me sacrificial Pepsi, and then I will accept you. I can't promise if you don't bring Pepsi, I won't devour your soul, though. So, thanks. I'm Caitlynn French.